Here we are again with Colin Kaepernick back in the news. This dude just will not go away. And look, this time Colin Kaepernick is in the news through no fault of his own. His Netflix series, it's kind of faded into the background in recent weeks. And by the way, have you guys seen the ratings for Colin Kaepernick's Netflix series? I'm not talking about viewership numbers. Netflix, they release viewership numbers whenever they choose. Ratings on Netflix aren't public like they are on television. I could not find any record of Colin Kaepernick's viewership numbers on Netflix. But if I had to speculate, I would assume they're not great. If they were, there's not a doubt in my mind, especially with all the negative press Netflix received about Dave Chappelle. If viewership numbers were high for Colin Kaepernick, Netflix would release those numbers. Now, the Rotten Tomatoes and the IMDb ratings for this series, they paint an interesting picture. You look at IMDb ratings for the majority of television shows or movies. There's somewhat of a balance in the ratings. There's some 5s, some 4s, some 3s, some 2s, some 1s. Colin Kaepernick, it is either 5s or 1s. There is no in between. Now, I don't need to explain to you guys what's going on here. Common sense thinkers are tanking the ratings, and social justice warriors are counteracting that by giving the series a 5-star rating. Colin Kaepernick is in the news again today for an indirect reason. Michele Tafoya is the longtime sideline reporter for Sunday Night Football on NBC. She had the job since 2011. Every Sunday night during the NFL season, Michele Tafoya is on my television set, except for the last month. She has been mysteriously absent from Sunday Night Football the last few weeks. Missing 1 week, no one's going to notice. Missing 2 weeks, eyebrows might be raised, but alarm bells aren't necessarily ringing just yet. Missing 3 weeks in a row, people start wondering what the hell's going on. This is exactly what Bill Simmons was wondering on his podcast earlier this week. Bill Simmons floated an interesting theory explaining Michele Tafoya's absence. I don't think it's a theory. I think it's more than likely what happened. Back in early November, right around the time Colin Kaepernick's shitty Netflix series was premiering, you know, the series where he claims the NFL is the equivalent to modern-day slavery. Yeah, that series. Because nothing defines slavery like dudes making millions of dollars every year to play football. If that's what defines slavery in 2021, sign me up. I will gladly accept millions of dollars to play football. I don't think anyone would want to watch it, but I'll take the money regardless. Around the time the series was premiering on Netflix, Michele Tafoya guest hosted The View. I've never understood why common sense thinkers subject themselves to The View. How the hell is this show still on the air? Who watches this garbage? Besides Whoopi Goldberg, who has maintained a stable media career in television by being a dumbass, but besides Whoopi Goldberg, I can't name another personality on The View. I can guarantee you, though, they're social justice warriors. That day on The View in early November, Michele Tafoya was sitting in the common sense chair. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with how The View works, I'll explain the format to you. They have 4 dumbasses, and they bring on one woman with a functioning brain. Throughout the show, the 4 dumbasses, they yell, they scream, they make points that no one understands. The common sense thinker corrects them and subjects herself to their verbal abuse for an hour. After the show, the lone woman with a brain wonders how these other 4 women dress themselves in the morning, and the other 4 women leave the set to find a new way to kill their remaining brain cells. The topic of conversation that morning on The View was Fidel Castro himself, Colin Kaepernick. This clip I'm about to share with you is 2 minutes long, but I want to play it in its entirety. Check out Michele Tafoya school these idiots.
Colluded together.
I think we need to be really careful about that accusation.
Well, there was a settlement. There was a settlement.
So,
and they paid him.
She knows that stuff.
And the reason that he is not playing is because he took a stand for other people in this country, and he lost everything because of the stand that he took. And there is no owner in the NFL to this day that has the courage to take him back.
A lot of teams have tried him out. I will tell you that. I know my stuff, too, on this. A lot of teams have tried him out, and he didn't lose everything. In fact, I would say he's gained a whole lot. He is now a leader of a movement. He's got a Netflix series. He's got Nike endorsements.
He lost the one thing he wants to do.
Well, you know, I don't get to do what I want to do either. And sometimes life just ain't fair, and it sucks.
But that's the reason he's not doing it. The reason that he lost it is to me, a BS reason.
So when he held an open tryout last year, he held an open tryout, and at the last minute, he moved it 50 miles away. So everyone who showed up for his tryout was like, where's Colin?
The reason that he moved it is because they wanted him to sign an agreement that no other player would have signed. They wanted him to sign an agreement that was...
It said what?
It said don't take it.
And I can't recall. I hope somebody can tell me in my ear. But they wanted him to sign an agreement that would have precluded him from either pursuing what would have been his right to pursue. It was something along those lines, and he refused to sign it.
I think I just want to give the benefit of the doubt to some people that there are two sides to this story. I think we can all of us can agree that there is probably a lot to this story we still don't know.
I'm not sure.
You're all going to groan at me.
Sure.
Okay, bring it on.
Sure.
Bring
people
it on.
Feel
That's
like
the view, honey.
People feel that they saw what the big picture was, and I think people didn't like it.
And there are people playing football that aren't as good as he is.
Did you catch that part in the middle where the one lady was talking about this agreement the NFL wanted Colin Kaepernick to sign? That tryout that he staged 2 years ago was nothing but a publicity stunt. He didn't want back in the NFL. He needed an excuse to remain relevant. He turned that shit into a circus. But that one lady, she starts talking about this mysterious agreement, this non-existent agreement. The NFL wanted him to sign an agreement. He would have given up his rights to pursue something. Pursue it. That agreement. Give up his rights to pursue something. What a fucking dope. Michele Tafoya has been covering the NFL over 25 years. That other woman, she probably couldn't tell you what team Colin Kaepernick played for. You want to know how I come to that conclusion? Towards the end of the clip, she claims there are people playing in the NFL now that aren't as good as Colin Kaepernick. Really? Colin Kaepernick was 3-16 his last 2 years in the NFL. I promise you, if he could still play, he would be playing. An NFL team would sign him. The tryout the NFL gave him that he turned into a circus in 2019 was nothing but a virtue signal by the NFL. The truth is, what happened to Colin Kaepernick happens to a lot of running quarterbacks who never learn to throw the ball out of the pocket. You take the league by surprise for 1 or 2 years. NFL defenses figure out how to stop you. Once that happens, if you can't become an effective pocket passer and you're one-dimensional, you're essentially useless. But enough about Colin Kaepernick. Back to Michele Tafoya. Not long after this appearance on The View, Michele Tafoya mysteriously disappears from Sunday Night Football. She has been silent about her disappearance, probably by force. Let's not even call it a disappearance. Let's call it what it more than likely is, a suspension. If I had to guess, just piggybacking off of Bill Simmons' opinion here, but if I had to guess, some virgin at NBC was offended by what Michele Tafoya said on The View about Colin Kaepernick, and they pulled her from Sunday Night Football. What I played for you was just a small portion. Michele Tafoya blasted the idiots on The View for agreeing with Colin Kaepernick's assessment that the NFL is modern-day slavery. She made the point that no one is forcing guys to play in the NFL, which is true. Now, people arguing against the theory that Michele Tafoya was suspended for her comments on The View, they are making the point that she worked up until Thanksgiving and then took the next 3 weeks off. NBC released a statement calling it a bye week. We give our talent bye weeks during the season. Michele worked the Tokyo Olympics. She needed time off to rest. Bye week? If it were 1 week, I would buy that bullshit. But 3 weeks in a row? Is she on maternity leave? The NFL season's only 18 weeks long. You mean to tell me Michele Tafoya needed 3 weeks off in a row to rest? As far as her working through Thanksgiving, I'll give you my thoughts on that. NBC pulling her off the air immediately after her appearance on The View is far too obvious. Last year, they could have done that and gotten away with it with little, maybe no outrage. But today, too many people are tired of the woke bullshit. People are not as afraid to speak out against it as they were last year. By waiting damn near a month, you let the view situation die down a little bit, and Michele Tafoya quietly disappears for 3 weeks. Plus, Michele Tafoya is in a protected class. She's a woman. NBC can't look like they're silencing a woman. Feminists would come after them. These male executives at NBC are silencing this poor woman. This is misogyny. Now, this likely wouldn't happen because Michele Tafoya isn't woke, but corporations like NBC are afraid of backlash regardless. They don't want to take that risk. As I was preparing this video, literally minutes as I was preparing this video, I received an alert from the New York Post. This is going to be the final season for Michele Tafoya at NBC. Once she finishes working the Super Bowl in February, she's done. Now, NBC's claiming this was her decision, and that could be true. But because the media is so full of shit, I have a hard time believing anything mainstream media companies say. We know how these people work. If you are not a hardline social justice warrior, if you don't believe everything they tell you to believe, they don't want to be associated with you. Now, on the flip side, Michele Tafoya has had a long media career. I'm sure she has plenty of money. Maybe this is her choice. Maybe she wants to retire. Or maybe she's stepping away because she's tired of dealing with the woke bullshit at NBC. Seriously, if the rumors of her being suspended for what she said on The View are not true, wouldn't she put the rumors to rest? A simple tweet. I took the last 3 weeks off to deal with personal issues or spend time with my family, whatever. But Michele Tafoya has been silent. NBC had been silent until they finally put out that statement about giving her bye weeks. What do you guys think? Was Michele Tafoya removed from Sunday Night Football for her remarks about Colin Kaepernick on The View? Or did NBC willingly give her 3 consecutive weeks off in the heat of the NFL season? What do you think? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.